So I decided to get myself the latest iPhone, which is the iPhone 17 Pro Max. As you can see, that's the box right there. And yeah, time to make a review about this phone. Okay, so I got the 17 Pro Max in deep blue, 1TB. I'm coming from the iPhone 13 Pro Max, Zero Blue, 256GB. It's been like 4 years since I last upgraded my phone. I was about to upgrade to the 16 Pro Max last year, but that particular phone, the one I bought, is still issue. One of them doesn't really come in issue though, but the other one does. First thing is that I don't feel it was like a big upgrade coming from 13 Pro Max to 16 Pro Max. So that's why I waited for a year to get myself the 17 Pro Max. Second thing is that the phone have quality check issue. When I'm on AOD, the screen will randomly flicker for no reason, even though I did like a couple of software updates. I restored that phone several times. It still does that. I have no idea why. Good thing I waited for the 17 Pro Max because this particular phone seems to be reliable for me. I don't see any serious issue yet as the time I'm filming this video. So yeah, time to review this phone. Let's start off with the things that I like. So first thing first, I like the new design. This will be subjective to some people, as some people dislike it because of its camera plateau and separate glass, but I like it especially in deep blue. It is available in 3 color options, which are deep blue, silver, and the all new cosmic orange. It felt very comfortable to hold with its new aluminum unibody design, ceramic shield at the back, and it's way lighter compared to the iPhone 13 Pro Max as it's made of stainless steel. The iPhone 17 Pro Max weighs 231 grams, whereas the iPhone 13 Pro Max weighs 240 grams. It doesn't sound a lot, but you will notice it when you're holding these two iPhones. Speaking about aluminum, it holds up decently. I dropped it on a tile with rough texture. That phone only have a little dent, whereas on other aluminum phones, if I were to drop it at the same place, the dent is really bad. While I'm still talking about aluminum, this new aluminum unibody chassis helps a lot with thermal conductivity. There's a vapor chamber to keep the A19 Pro chip to cool down for better performance. Let's talk about the A19 Pro. The A19 Pro have a 3nm chip, 6-core CPU and 6-core GPU. It have hardware accelerated ray tracing, which is useful for gaming, though I rarely game, but of course it is the most powerful chip on an iPhone as of right now. By the way, this phone have 12 gigs of RAM. This phone doesn't heat up that often because again, this phone have vapor chamber and it performs well, of course. Moving on to the display. The display is just amazing. There's a 6.9 inch that you can set from 1 nits all the way up to 3000 nits. It is really useful when you're in a dark or bright environment. This one also has a faster charging speed, which is 40 watt with wired and 25 watt with MagSafe. So I'll be comparing with the predecessor, which is the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and my previous iPhone, which is the iPhone 13 Pro Max. So the iPhone 16 Pro Max have 30 watt wired and 25 watt MagSafe, whereas on the iPhone 13 Pro Max it's 27 watt for wired and 15 watt for MagSafe. Moving on, let's talk about the front-facing camera, and wow, it is a huge upgrade. It comes with a 80 megapixel camera with f1.9 aperture that uses square sensors instead of rectangle sensors. It has center stage that automatically adjusts the frame to keep you and others in view. You can take photos and video in landscape mode while you're holding your phone in portrait. Here are some picture and video for the front-facing camera. This is the front-facing camera test. On the iPhone 13 Pro Max is 12 megapixel, whereas on the iPhone 17 Pro Max is 80 megapixel. So they did some upgrades on the front-facing camera. Basically, the iPhone 17 Pro Max have the square lens now, and you can see that's the Sundown right there. So that's how it looks. What do you guys think? And let's face to the other side. Should be way better this time. What do you guys think about the camera? And also, what about the audio quality? I hope both of these sounds really good. I want to test the stabilization with the front-facing camera while running. So this is how it looks like. Kind of weird running with two phones, but you know what? This is just for a YouTube review, so it doesn't really matter that much. And yeah, that's how the stabilization looks like on the front-facing camera. As I mentioned earlier, the front-facing camera is a square lens this time. So basically what you can do is you can tap this button right here. You can record your videos in landscape mode. So you can see I'm recording this video in landscape even though I'm holding my phone in portrait. So yeah, that's one of the cool feature about this phone. Also, you can do this for photos too. So let's do this, and yeah, there you go. This is the front-facing camera test at night. I'm not sure whether is it good or not. So there's a light in front of me, and of course 17 Pro Max win. That's not a surprise because the 17 Pro Max have 18 megapixel, whereas the iPhone 13 have 12 megapixel. And again, the 17 Pro Max have a bigger sensor, of course. So I'll stand behind the light right there, and yeah, the 17 Pro Max fares way better than the 13 Pro Max. So I'll just walk around. As you can see, looks more visible on the 17 Pro Max. For the rear camera, it is still the same 48 megapixel for the main and ultra wide, but the telephoto got 48 megapixel instead of 12 megapixel with the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Let's talk about the ultra wide cameras. It has a 13mm focal length with f2.2 aperture and 1.4 what? 1.4 quad pixel. Sorry, I don't know how to say that, but I'll just put it right here. For the main lens, it has a 24mm for 1x and 48mm for 2x focal length with f1.78 aperture and 2.44 ohms quad pixel. Last but not least, for the telephoto lens, it has a 100mm focal length for 4x zoom and 200mm focal length for the 8x zoom with f2.8 aperture and 1.4 quad pixel. There are certain optical zoom options which are 0.5, 1, 1.2, 1.1, 2, 4, and 8 times. You can zoom all the way up to 40 times with photo and 24 with video. Here are the samples for the rear camera. As you can see, I'm recording this in 4K 60. It's on 0.5x. So let's switch to 1x. So this is how it looks like. As you can see, it looks really great, and here's the amazing view right here. So let's switch to 2x. This is 2x right here. That's the other side, and you can see there's Penang right there. So let's look at this again. And let's switch to 4x this time. So this is 4x, so it would be the telephoto. You can see that's the waterfall right there. There's this places right here, and there's so many things that's flying around. I have no idea where is that, but anyway, there's Penang again. Let's switch to AX. So this is AX right here, and again, that's the waterfall where we look at the buildings right here, the skyscrapers I mean. Let's look at the waterfall again, and let's switch to the max, which it would be the 24x. So this is how it looks like on 24x. So yeah, the view is kind of shaky, but by the time when it's done its own thing, it should be a bit way more smoother. So again, this is how the waterfall looks like. And let's look at the island again, I mean the skyscraper, and yeah, you can see, wow, that looks really okay though. Let's look at the waterfall, and I'll switch to 0.5x this time. So yeah, this is quite impressive though compared with the 16 Pro Max in my opinion. I'm at Telok Pahang Dam, and this is how the camera looks like on the iPhone 13 Pro Max and the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Right now it's around 8 a.m. and as you can see, this is how the view. I'm on 1x camera and that's the sun right there. So let's go this side, and you can see right there, there's the Escape, the world longest water slide, and Utopia, aka the butterfly farm. That's the roads, and that's the water. Both of these are recording in 4K 60. Trying to be fair for this one because the iPhone 13 Pro Max couldn't record in 120 frames per second for 4K, whereas the iPhone 17 Pro Max does. And also, I can do this with the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Basically, I can switch to any lens. So this is 0.5, 1x, 2x, 4x, which is the telephoto, and this is the 8x. And I can go all the way up to 24. Whereas on the iPhone 13 Pro Max, as you can see, I'm on the 1x right now, and the max I can go all the way up is 3x. Basically, I need to switch to other camera before I recording. Right now, I'm recording this on the telephoto camera, so the iPhone 13 Pro Max is 3x, whereas on the iPhone 17 Pro Max is 4x. So I can say that the iPhone 17 Pro Max stabilization is so much better. So I'm doing some shaking right now, and yeah, just look at this side right here. You can see the text is way more better on the iPhone 17 Pro Max, of course, but on the iPhone 13 Pro Max it's way more wider, I would say. This is how this looks. I'm on 0.5x, aka the ultra wide for both of these phones, and yeah, this is how it would looks like. I feel like stabilization, when it comes to recording wise, it looks the same, but not sure how it would be after once it's processed all of this stuff. So again, just the dam, and again, let's go to this side right here to look at the windy roads. And yeah, man, I love this place a lot. This place is incredible. I'm filming using the main lens, which is the one-time zoom. As you can see, this is how it looks like, and I feel like the iPhone 17 Pro Max have a better result compared to the iPhone 13 Pro Max, as the iPhone 13 Pro Max have a bigger sensor. You can see, here's how it looks like. But yeah, I feel like the 17 Pro Max looks more vivid than the iPhone 13 Pro Max. So I'll switch to the ultra wide. This is the ultra wide, and yeah, you can tell it is like a big jump, that's for sure, because again, this 17 Pro Max has a bigger sensor. Unlike the iPhone 13 Pro Max, you can see that the iPhone 13 Pro Max looks really dark, and yep, you can see that's like part of the blue skies right there on the 17 Pro Max. On the iPhone 13 Pro Max, on the other hand, yeah, it's just pure black. So look at these skyscrapers right here. This is how it looks. I'm on telephoto, and yeah, you can tell the iPhone 13 Pro Max telephoto is not that good when it comes to lighting, because it's pretty much pure black for the sky. On the other hand, the 17 Pro Max looks good. Anyway, let's walk around here. You can see 17 Pro Max of course wins for this time, but again, this is like a 4-year gap between these two iPhones, so this is like a good jump for the camera. Basically, I see this camera is like a worthy upgrade for me. You can see nighttime 17 Pro Max looks more visible than the 13 Pro Max. And let's do some running with the main lens. I don't know how it would turn out though while I'm filming this, but by the time when it's done, all of the stuff, you guys can look at the footage. So this is the light bar, I guess that's what you call, I don't know, but yeah, looks like this. And there you go, that's for the camera test at night. Meanwhile, I'm still talking about the camera, let's talk about another thing, which is pretty much all of the iPhone 17 lineup get it, which is dual capture video. It is not a new thing since it was on an Android phone a long time ago, but it is a nice thing to have. You can record in this mode all the way up to 4K 30, and this is how it looks like. This is how the dual capture mode looks like on the iPhone 17 Pro Max, and yeah, as you can see, it only records in 4K 30 for the rear. I'm not sure for the front. However, as you can see, still looks good except the FPS. But if you don't care about 60 frames, you're okay with 30 frames. It does its job pretty well, what I would say about it. And I think it looks quite shaky if I shake it a bit. I think by the time when iOS process all of its stuff, it should be way better. So let's look at this side. And also I can switch to any lens I want to. So this is ultra wide, the main lens, and telephoto. Let's go to this side. I don't think I actually want to switch because I'm on dual capture mode, but yeah, you can see it's actually switched for ultra wide to the normal, but for some reason it refused to switch to the telephoto, which I have no idea why. But yeah, this is how it looks like during daytime. I forgot to mention one thing is that you can record in portrait too, and also you can do this, which you can just drag it like this. I think this looks like 60 frames, although I'm not sure what it would turn out by the time when it's done of the iOS processing stuff. Once you move it here, it will be stuck in the video footage permanently. But yeah, you can do this, which I find it really cool. As I mentioned earlier, I can do this, which also, again, I did it in portraits, but this is the landscape version. Last but not least, action mode. It is not a new feature since it was first introduced on the iPhone 14 series, but I love the action mode. It can record up to 2.8K at 60 frames per second. I rarely use it though, but it is really useful for some people, and here's the demo. I'm filming in 4K 60 for this part. Obviously I don't have the action mode enabled, so let's do a quick run. And you can see this isn't really that smooth, and I'll switch to the action mode. This is action mode enable. Even though it's recording in 60 frames per second, however, it's recording at 0.5x instead of 1x. So this is how 1x would look like. Obviously it's way more zoom in. So I'll stick with the default 0.5x for the exact same view. And in addition, it's recording in 2.8K instead of 4K. So I'll do a terrible run. So you can see this time the footage is way more smoother compared with the action mode disabled. Again, I'll do the same test again. So this is action mode disabled. So this is how it looks like. You can see it isn't that stable, and I'll switch to action mode. This is action mode enabled. Let's do the run again, and you can see this is way more smoother. Although one downside is that it's recording in 2.8K instead of 4K resolution. So yeah, what do you guys think? You can record with dual capture mode. At the same time, you can have action mode enabled. So I'm gonna do some running. It will be nightmare because I'm on a beach right now. And yeah, so this is how it looks like. Moving on, this phone has USB 3. Also, it is not a new feature since it was first introduced on the iPhone 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max. But doing a local backup is super quick for 100 gigabytes worth of data. In addition, the battery on this phone gets way bigger. On the iPhone 17 Pro Max eSIM only model, basically the US model, gets 5088 mAh. On the iPhone 17 Pro Max with the eSIM, basically the one that I have, it has 4823 mAh. To compare with the previous iPhone, which is the iPhone 16 Pro Max, that phone has 4685, whereas on the iPhone 13 Pro Max, aka my previous iPhone, that phone has 4352 mAh. I wish they have an option to get the eSIM only since I'm mainly using eSIM, and I prefer to have a bigger battery. For those who really need a lot of local storage, now you can get the 2TB for the iPhone 17 Pro Max. And to warn you guys, it is really pricey though. So it costs $1,999, 9,999 ringgit for Malaysians. As I mentioned earlier, I got myself the 1TB model, which costs 1,599 in the US, and in Malaysia it costs 7,999 ringgit. So that's all the stuff that I really like about this phone. Let's talk about the stuff that I dislike about this phone. First thing would be iOS 26 battery life. It's unable to last for a whole day compared with iOS 18 on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. The iPhone 13 Pro Max can last for nearly 3 days when it first came out during iOS 15 days. And also iOS 26 is really buggy. I hope Apple can fix a lot of things with the future software update. I'm 50-50 on this new aluminum design. Basically, as you may know, aluminum is a weaker material. It gets dense easily when you drop the phone, which is normal for this case, whereas the previous Pro iPhone uses stainless steel and titanium. Those materials are way stronger compared to aluminum. I already got some dents on the top, but those dents aren't bad in my opinion. It holds up way better than any other aluminum iPhones. So this thing never happened on the previous iPhone before, but somehow this happened on the iPhone 17 series. I have no idea why, but this happened, which is scratchgate. The back glass gets scratches easily, especially with the deep blue. When you're using a MagSafe charger without a case, and that MagSafe charger have a couple of dents, it will cause some scratches. I already got some 2 scratches on my phone. It's a micro scratch. In addition, limited color options with the iPhone 17 Pro. As I mentioned earlier, there are only 3 color options, which are deep blue, silver, and cosmic orange. Unfortunately, there are no black for the iPhone 17 Pro and the 17 Pro Max. I hope they bring more colors later down the line, or for the iPhone 18 series. The colors that I'm hoping for are space gray and product red. It's been a while since we have a product red iPhone. The last one that we have was an iPhone 14. But that was a regular iPhone though, so to see a product red, I guess that would be nice, especially on a Pro iPhone, because we never got that somehow. This one is about camera related stuff. This actually happened recently with the iOS 26.3 developer beta 1. So as you can see on the left picture shows how the color looks when I first open the camera app. It doesn't look very natural at all. But for the second shot, which is on the right, I have to switch from 1x to 0.5x and back to 1x just to get the color looking clicking normal. I feel like most likely it is a bug in iOS 26.3 developer beta 1. Last but not least, the bottom speaker on the left instead on the right. When you hold it in a landscape mode, normal way by the way, don't hold it in a this way, the speaker grill will get blocked and it will sound muffled when you're holding it. Well, that's all the things that I dislike about this phone, and let's talk about, is it worth to get the iPhone 17 Pro Max? In my opinion, if you're coming from an older iPhone such as iPhone 12 Pro or older, I feel like it is worth to upgrade. And you probably be wondering, my previous iPhone is an iPhone 13 Pro Max. Why did I decide to upgrade to the iPhone 17 Pro Max? The main reason is that I needed more storage and I prefer to use local storage. I wouldn't upgrade to the iPhone 17 Pro Max if my iPhone 13 Pro Max is the 1TB. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching this iPhone 17 Pro Max review. What do you guys think about this phone? Let me know down in the comments down below. Check out my other videos right here. And yeah, bye.